Good morning, friends. How are you today? Hello, hello. Hello, everyone. Hello, friends. Great to see you today. How are you? I pray you are well. I hope your day is going well and that all is joyful in your world. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. How are you today? Great to see everybody. We are back in the office this morning. A glorious spot to be here. So, hope you're all doing well. So, good morning, everybody. Hey, good morning, Jed. How are you? Hope all is well with you and Isaiah and Xavier and everybody. Hope everybody's good. Good morning, everybody. Hello, hello. All right, good morning, friends. We will get going this morning. It is the 11th day of May on 11/11, and I'm glad that you're with us. I'm glad you're part of this journey. I'm glad you are here, working and listening. Best of both worlds. Well, I hope it's the best. That's great. I hope it is the best of both worlds for everybody. Uh, it is a joy to have you with us this morning. And this morning, I want to pull a little line from the Gospel of Mark. Now, the Gospel of Mark is the most spare gospel that we have. It's kind of just the facts, ma'am, and it's the most simple gospel. And so sometimes you find the things that are mentioned in Mark actually have in them something really key to offer us. And there is this moment as Jesus is on the cross. He is dying on the cross, and he breathes his last breath, and there is a mention that Mark makes of first the centurion at the bottom of the bottom of the cross, looking at Jesus, says, "Surely this man was the Son of God." Well, because something was going on. This hardened battle you know battle hardened centurion had been had seen this scene unfold and saw that even before the resurrection, this is a great and powerful things are at work. But then Mark goes on to mention this, and this is what I want to talk about today. He said, "Some women were watching from a distance. Among them were Mary Magdalene, Mary, the mother of James the younger and of Joseph, and Salome. In Galilee, these women had followed him and cared for his needs. Many other women who had come up with him to Jerusalem were also there." These these women are actually known. They actually have a proper name in the church. They are called the myrrh bearers. That they and that Part of it is they are bearing with them the holy myrrh, the spices that would be anointed of Jesus' body later that morning, and by virtue of that, they would come to be the first ones to discover the resurrection. Mark goes on in the beginning of chapter 16 to say, early in the morning, the women arrived with spices to anoint the body, because this was as a part of Jewish custom. this was an important role, an important act to continue to tend the body even into death. That there was this way in which, so Joseph of Arimathea had gotten the grave clothes and the linen and wrapped him up, but he had not been anointed properly. And in fact, this anointing wasn't to happen at the moment of death, but it was to happen a couple days later. This is a part of the Jewish ritual of tending the dead. Now the women come and they show up, and what do they discover? They discover the resurrected Jesus. Now, I want to talk about this thing about tending today, because I think it is. I think in many ways it's the thing we've forgotten. Maybe not forgotten, but it's the thing we often don't want to do, and it's actually the thing we find it difficult for us to do. In these days, and I think there's all sorts of ways that this notion of holy tending, of divine tending to things, divine tending, and tending to the divine in all the different facets of our life, even in the dead parts of our life, maybe even most importantly into the dead parts of our life, are perhaps the most important and key things that we can do in order to bear witness to the resurrection. That when we think about the holy things of our life, like the really important things, and when we think about often what we're faced with, and the way we're invited to frame those holy things, those most important things, I think this is where we've gone a little cattywampus. We've got a little, we've turned the corner a little bit on this. We've stopped. We've gone to wanting to fix things. We wanted to work on cure. I think in fact many times our response to the pandemic, and I don't want to get into all that much, but just to say we're looking for how much resources we have looked for cure or prevention, like we're going to not get this thing, or we're going to not have this thing, or we're going to make it better, versus tending. Now, I don't want to get into epidemiological debates on here. That's not the point of this. It's simply to just look at how I'm inviting us to look at how we've been looking in this time. And I think it's true on all sorts of levels. We see this played out. I think about our relationships. We want to fix our relationships. We want to fix things so that they're better. We want to fix them so that we'll just make that other person, give us the flowers and the num-nums and the things that we want. We're going to fix this the way that our children are moving in this world. We're gonna get rid of it, right? Or we're just gonna say like, wow, enough of this. Enough of this relationship, enough of this thing, we think about it on an organic level. I got to spend a little time with my mom this weekend, and she's a terrific gardener. She's a garden that she's been cultivating for 50 years, and to just see her out there tending the garden, like organic things, and we're organic things, friends, and our families are organic things, and our society is an organic thing. They're not mechanistic things. They're not digital things. They don't need fixing. What they need is tending. Even our bodies, even our very selves, we want to get our tummy tucked, get our physical self put in the right way, and manicured in the right way, and done, and have all the things done so that we can, look like we should be on the cover of a magazine, versus tending our bodies and giving them the things that they need. Giving ourselves pretending as if our bodies and our physical self is something that we're responsible for helping out and for working on, for tending. The holy myrrh bearers are a part of this incredible tradition all around the resurrection, and it is them that see Jesus first, and it is them that report Jesus to everyone else. The tenders of the world are the ones who see the divine in the world, who encounter the divine in the world first. And I'm convinced of this. I'm convinced that much of what we've got ourselves into is this question about about what we're trying to fix, what we're trying to bend to our will, what we're trying to make better. This is broken. We need to fix it and put it back together, versus what simply tending that which is before us. If there is a dead branch, well, we can remove the dead branch. If there's a problem in a relation, if there's a sticking point in a relationship, we just tend the relationship. If we spend time with the people that we love and we make them a priority in our life, versus we've got to get out there and transform our lives into some way. We have to create a new chat group and a new way of being and being together, so that we can just all keep in touch and so we don't lose touch. And invariably that stuff never works. I don't know if you, but I've found myself on any number of those. Like, oh, we're gonna start this new text thread, and that'll give us a way to keep in touch. And I'm not saying that's bad, but it's this effort to try and fix a problem, versus simply tending our lives together and saying, I'm gonna get my hands dirty. Because this is the thing about tending. And this is what the holy myrrh bearers bear for us, is that in the Mark text, the myrrh bearers, there were some women watching from a distance. Here are these women that have traveled with Jesus. They've loved Jesus. Jesus has loved them. They've been together in this whole thing. They've made sure he got the meals he needed to get. They've kept him on the road. They've kept him focused. They've tended the talent and the beauty and everything that they saw in him, and that in his life and in his ministry, they've been that a lot of those healings that Jesus was about, that they had a hand in that and a part in that, in their tending of the divine that they saw in their midst, and that that was part of that was difficult, part of that was scary, part of that was what they gave themselves to. But then at the crucifixion, they stand watching him die in a gruesome way. See, the thing about tending is, just like if we're gardening, or just like we're in a relationship, it's not this digital, like, it's broken, we'll fix it, or we're broken, we'll get rid of it and get another one. It is simply tending that which is in front of us, even when it's dirty. Even when it requires our hands to get dirty, even when it requires us to enter into even gruesome places, but we'll tend. And the thing about tending is it's sometimes wildly unsatisfying. I mean, sometimes we can weed a garden and feel good about it, or sometimes we can spend time in a relationship and have it blossom. Sometimes we can spend time in our own caring for ourselves, and we can feel better about it. But sometimes it just means entering into the stink. Sometimes it means entering into the very difficult things of life to continue to tend. That it's not this digital thing, that tending really doesn't matter whether you're going to get a good thing, a good result out of it or not, whether it's going to work out for you that day or not. Tending is simply our invitation to stay in touch with the things that are most holy, and to cultivate them into relationship with us and the world, and to cultivate them into health. And that tending even to the point of death. The holy myrrh bearers come to the tomb to anoint Jesus with myrrh, and with the spices and with the oils, as is the tradition of the Jewish people in how they care for their dead. They enter quite literally into the stinky place. I mean, that is That is the result of what you're going to get when you put a body in for 3 days in a tomb that is going to that is going to bake in the Middle Eastern sun. That's what you're going to get. Is you're going to get something very stinky. They show up in their willingness to enter into the stink, in their willingness to enter into tending even death, even the things that aren't working out. They're tending even the most gruesome of things. They're tending even the hardest of things in their life. Why? Because it's the place that they find the divine. It's the place that matters most. It's the things that really matter to them. Why do they enter in there? Because they are expressing love. They're not trying to fix it. They're not going to the temple. They're not going to the tomb to understand that Jesus is gonna ride for the death. Even though that's what happens, they go to the tomb to love him even through the hardest of things, to care for him in the way that they know how to care, to love the world and love all that is holy into better and more beautiful being. That's why they go there. And that in that, they find the resurrection. In that, they find new life. In that, in the tomb, they discover, in the stinkiest of the stink, they discover God's love in abundance. So my invitation to you, and God's overcoming the stink. I mean, that's really, I think that's really the fullness of it. Is that we're often in our days, and it really everything in our life is conspiring this, for this. Everything. I think that our whole makeup these days is is getting us into this kind of like, we need to fix it, we need to fix it, we need to fix it mentality, versus our willingness to tend the holy in our midst, to tend it on the good days and tend it on the bad days. That, I mean, how often do we live in a culture right now of ghosting, where we just get ghosted by people? We'll have an encounter with people and poof, poof, they're gone. We'll have a thing with, like, poof, they're gone. Like, there's, and that the whole movement to ghosting is this unwillingness to enter into the tending of the difficult things of our lives and our world. That where we could simply put our efforts towards building the beautiful, building the true, nurturing the things that are working. Well, friends, the things that seem to be not working, or the things that need to be fixed, would then reveal themselves quite nicely, and would and in many ways be rectified all on their own. My hope for you today is that you'll see what you're doing in your life, whether you're working, whether you're caring for your children, whether you're a part of whether you're keeping in touch with those that you love, whether you're out on some grand adventure, listening to music, or doing something beautiful and fun. Regardless of what, try and frame it. Understand yourself as a holy myrrh bearer. Understand yourself as one who comes to anoint the good and the true and the beautiful in the world in which you stand. That when what comes with your little basket of your little secret sauce that you bring to the mix, that you can pour over and bring beauty and cover over the holy, even in the places where it's all messed up, even in the places where it's been savaged, even in the places where it seems like there's no way this thing is going to get better than it is. But wherever you, and whatever you find that in your days, whenever you find that in yourself, that you might open and know yourself as a holy myrrh bearer, as one who comes to anoint the good wherever you find it, to catch the world and people, not doing something wrong, but doing something right, and bless it and lift it up. And tend the beauty in your world. Tend the goodness in your days. And understand it as a tending, not as a fixing, and not as a need that has to be like, oh God, I've got to go do this thing again today. Like these kids, they always want to be fed this stuff. They always, this husband or this wife, they always want to talk to me. understand this is part of our holy task as myrrh bearers, to love and to anoint, to, to build the beautiful in this world, not through our own powerful efforts, but through our tending the good and the true and the beautiful where we find it, and letting it sprout, letting it break into this world, letting it grow, and letting it bring us the face of the resurrected Christ. All right, friends, that's my hope for you today on this Wednesday, the 11th. Great to see everybody. John, glad you made it in. Donna, good, glad that you're here. Cecile, I'm glad you're here. Great. Jennifer, so glad always glad to see you here. That's so great. All right, friends. I hope you have a great day and that you do some tending on the beauty of your life. All right, peace and grace. We'll pick it up tomorrow with another 11:11.